River flooding that occurs when a waterfall cannot cope with the water flowing into it from the surrounding land. This can happen, for example, when heavy rain falls on an already waterlogged property. Coastal flooding results from a combination of high tides and stormy conditions. If low atmospheric pressure coincides with a high tide, a tidal surge may happen, which can cause serious flooding. Surface water flooding, which occurs when heavy rainfall overwhelms the drainage capacity of local areas. It is difficult to predict improvement, much more so than river or coastal flooding. Sewer flooding that occurs when sewers are overwhelmed by heavy rainfall or when they become hot. The likelihood of flooding depends on the capacity of the local sewage system. Land and property can be flooded with water contaminated with new sewage as a result. Rivers can also become polluted by sewer overflows. Groundwater flooding that occurs when water levels in the ground rise above surface levels. It is most likely to occur in areas underlain by permeable rocks called aquifers. These can be extensive, regional aquifers, such as chalk or sandstone, or maybe more local sand, or river craters and valley bottoms underlain by less permeable rocks. Reservoir flooding on a large raised reservoir forms, resulting in flooding of the land beneath the reservoir. The risk of flooding is a product of both the flood event itself and the vulnerability of the person, property, or environment exposed to the event. The Environment Agency's National Flood Risk Assessment examines where flooding could occur in all 69 river countries and the coastline around England, using 39 weather patterns of varying severity and likelihood. The assessment includes the extent to which flood defense structures reduce the chance of flooding and what might happen if they overtop or fail. The assessment identifies land at risk from flooding using 3 risk categories. These consider the chances of weather severe enough to cause a flood and the likelihood this will overwhelm defense structures or lead to their failure. The National Flood Risk Assessment is an assessment of the risk now, and therefore does not take account of increased likelihood of flooding due to the possible future effects of climate change. Although there is
When you get any weather warning, you have to take the right decision about it
over the past
so that you don't get into
years
any
in
accident.
the contribution
So don't
to winter
neglect the
rainfall
weather
from
warning.
heavy precipitation events. In summer, all regions except northeast England and North Scotland show decreases. Severe windstorms around the UK have become more frequent in the past few decades, though not above that seen in the 1920s. been considerable variability in the North Atlantic Oscillation, but with no significant trend over the past few decades. Sea level around the UK rose by about 1 millimetre, higher in the 20th century, corrected for land movement. The rate for the 1990s and 2000s has been higher than this. 3. Planning policy. The National Planning Policy Framework, NPPF, is a key part of the UK government's planning reforms. It replaces most of the planning policy guidance notes, PPGs, and planning policy statements, PPSS. The NPPF concentrates on high-level national policy and avoids prescriptive guidance. However, some technical guidance has been published alongside the NPPF and the PPS-5 practice guide relating to flood and coastal risk management still applies. The NPPF aims that inappropriate development in areas at risk of flooding should be avoided by directing development away from areas at highest risk, but where development is necessary, making it safe without increasing flood risk elsewhere. This is achieved by applying sequential and exception tests at all levels of the planning process, from national and regional plans through to local plans and site plans. For planning purposes, flood risk is defined on the Environment Agency's flood map and categorized into 3 flood zones, see box. Flood maps. Clear. Flood zone 1. Low probability. Flooding from rivers and the sea is very unlikely. There is less than a 0.1%, 1 in 1,000, chance of flooding occurring each year. Light blue, flood zone 2, shows the additional extent of an extreme flood from rivers or the sea. These outlying areas are likely to be affected by a major flood, with up to a 0.1%, 1 in 1,000 chance of occurring each year. Dark blue, flood zone 3, shows the area that could be affected by flooding, either from rivers or the sea. If there are no flood defences, this area could be flooded.
Casa da mãe. Voltemos aí! Ai, Jesus amado! Como foi agora? Ali!
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep abreast of the most important changes on the planet.